Hello there guys, it's me Unstable Voltage and welcome back to Civilization 5, the One City Challenge as Venice, Episode 3, or technically Episode 1. First of all, a big thank you to all of you guys who responded to my last video and commented. It was an overwhelming response. I think it's about the most I've ever got for a request for feedback. But that feedback has been invaluable by almost a landslide. The majority of you would like me to restart, and I'm happy with that. I know there were a couple of you that did want me to carry on with the game as it were, and I apologise to you guys, but I found that after I'd realised that I'd made the mistake with the settings, I was so angry with myself, I didn't feel like I was having fun, to be honest. And at least now I've started, the single city challenge mode is definitely enabled, so if we do want to try and capture any enemy cities in a domination style thing, they will get raised properly as they should. Somebody also suggested I should do a shuffle type map, which we are doing. If we actually have a look here, you can see it is on shuffle. And what shuffle does is, not only does it change the type of landmass you're on, but it can also change other settings on the map as well, such as the age of the earth and what the temperature is like. So you can get somewhere that has a lot of rain, which means it'll have a lot of jungles and forests like we have here. You might have one that is very dry and desert-like. The age of the world affects the number of mountains you have, and so on and so forth. So, where are we at? Well, unfortunately, we still don't have our river start. However, we do have a start next to a single mountain. And this is about one of the best starts you can have on a single city challenge. You don't want too many mountains next to you, because too many mountains would mean that you are losing valuable land, valuable tiles you can work. Because obviously you can't really do anything with the mountain tile. So it does give me the option for things like Chichen Itza or Neuschwanstein later on in the game. Also means we can have an observatory. We do have a coastal start, which is fantastic. We've got 2 fish resources and pearls, which is fantastic. We've also got some spices nearby. Can't see any other resources at the moment, but there is a lot of jungle around, which is going to be brilliant when we get ourselves some university online. So I'm going to try and avoid ripping up the jungle as much as possible. Now, just because I am restarting and to try and make things a little bit quicker, I'm going to try and play through these first 80 turns or so in a little bit of a sort of a speed round sort of thing, almost. I'm going to start and do exactly what I did last time and go straight for archery, because that is going to help me get an early Temple of Artemis, which we are going to need. We've also got a bananas, which is absolutely amazing. We are going to get our guys to scout around, and we have found ruins instantly. The other good thing here, of course, is, I hope that's not an inland sea, that's going to be annoying if it is. Another good thing here is, because we had that mountain and because we're coastal, there's not many tiles we can be attacked from realistically. Coastal tiles, they have to come through from this single tile, and on land they have to come through one of these 2 tiles. So we've got a little bit of a bottleneck here, which is quite handy. Choose production, of course, we want to go into monument because we need to get ourselves some culture nice and early. Especially because we want our borders to grow. Actually quite glad that I sent these guys this way. Okay, so we've already got increased population in Venice. That is fantastic. Now, we are going to have to micromanage here. The food and the gold, along with the food. Yeah, not a lot of production tiles here at the moment anyway, but that is something that will change. Let's go on to the next turn. We do have some more spices here. They are out of workable range of the city, but it is still possible we can get them. And that's the end of that piece of land. Well, we can't embark, so we're going to have to go back the way we came. So let's start heading back this way. And we'll get ourselves a scout out as soon as we can as well. Now, I don't want to rip a lot of these jungles down because they'll be absolutely brilliant for science later. We can, for the most part, ignore the jungles. We don't need to put a lot of farms down because we do have some nice resources around, such as the bananas, and we can get some early workboats up and running and get the fish. And once we get to a point where we can get ourselves a lighthouse and a seaport, we'll have some amazing tiles here right next to the city. Haven't ran into the barbarians yet. The monument is done. Let us get ourselves the scout. There's nothing else we can build at this point. Although I'm tempted. I'm sorely tempted. I think what I'm going to do No, we do need a scout. I was going to say, I think what I'll do is I'll skip building a scout and just go straight into the Temple of Artemis. And the reason for that is we may end up running out of places to explore quite quickly. I'm going to have a look at the tech tree. I'm going to go for probably pottery into early sailing, just so we can get the fishing boats up and running. I think that is going to be quite important for us. Not necessarily sure that we are going to need the scout. So we found Samarkand nice and early on. They're mercantile, so they will hopefully help us with our happiness situation. Not that we have a happiness situation at the moment, but we will do at some point. So we found a nice little atoll there that we can't do anything with. 1, 2, 3. That fish is out of range, unfortunately, as are those bananas. And still only move one tile at a time because this is marshland. Are you working those spices now? And then we're going to be spreading to the bananas. That's good. Can't grumble. It's a shame we don't have any tiles with a little bit more production. We may spread to that hill eventually, so not too bad. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to adopt policy. Same as we did before, we are going to adopt tradition. And then as soon as we can, we're going to put some points into aristocracy. Hopefully get the Temple of Artemis before anybody else. It's still on 37 turns at the moment. We are going to start building it. Now, it does seem like it's a long way off, and to be honest, it is. But hopefully we will get some more culture and we'll get some more population, and it will all help with the production. So let's get these guys looking around. Hopefully we'll find ourselves some more ancient ruins, and they may be able to speed the process up a little for us. Haven't met anybody else yet. And we found ourselves some ruins. Now, this is the reason why I was in two minds about building a scout. Because I've now sort of uncovered almost the entire landmass here. What did we get there? We got writing. Okay, well, that's not terrible. It's not the technology I would have wanted straight away, but it does the job. So we've got pottery. We've got writing. Did that actually get pottery for us as well? Or did we research that naturally? Anyway, we are going to go into early sailing now. And now I've really not got anything for these guys to do here. At least not until they can embark, which they can't do just yet. We've uncovered all the land we can. Samarkand's on a tiny little island here, so they're not going to be the most useful of cities. Okay, let us go for aristocracy. How many turns left do we have? 32 turns on the Temple of Artemis. We go for aristocracy. We go down to 28. So it's knocked a few off. Now, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus. Well, we could do. It doesn't seem like there's any point in doing it, though. That's the only issue. Let's just carry on. Because we don't have any stone around. We don't have any marble around. It could still be useful to get because it would allow us to get 100 gold every time we expand a great person. So even though this map is on shuffle, it looks very much like it is an archipelago style map. So we do have we have a fair few land tiles, and being next to the mountains is really good for us, but we're going to have trouble with some resources later. We do have a double spices, so at least we do have one that we can sell. 1, 2, 3, 4. The wine is 4 tiles away, although we will probably expand that far and be able to work the tile. We'll also, be able to get the wine and improve the tile. We'll also probably end up being able to improve this spices down here, and then we'll have a triple spices. Just getting these guys just to keep the way clear from barbarians more than anything at the moment. Venice has grown. Let's have a quick look. Still 22 turns away from the Temple of Artemis. They're now working the bananas. Not much production here at all, which is a real shame. But there's a fair amount of tiles that are giving gold. I'm very tempted, because we do have some decent growth, in taking that one off and putting you on the production side of things. It will slow down the growth a little, but I think getting the Temple of Artemis will pay for itself over time. So you guys are going to stay there. And there's probably just going to be a lot of me doing nothing but hit next turn for a while. Food-wise, we're in the middle. We're not bottom of the score at the moment either. Well, we are. We're only by a couple of points. Okay, sailing is complete. So what we're going to do now, as we actually have some money in the bank, is workboat is 240. We're up to 159. Not quite there yet, but it won't be long before we are. So what else are we going to need to get up and running? I'm not convinced that it's worth putting plantations on the bananas, because what you'll do is you'll remove the jungle and you'll gain a food on the tile, but you will lose the jungle, which means you won't get the science from it. So I'm probably not going to do that. I think I may go into optics and try and get a lighthouse as soon as possible and just increase these the yield of these tiles. Eventually go and get mining so we can get a mine up on that hill. Now, we've got a new social policy. Now, when do we get embarkation? Yeah, it's on optics. So we need to get that as quickly as possible so we can actually get our scouts out there and have them to have a look round. Let's go for legalism. It's a little bit pointless on its own when you only have a single city, but it leads to better things. So, leads to landed elite, which we definitely want. So let's just continue to speed things up. An unmet player has entered the classical era. I'm going to select these warriors simply because it should stop the camera automatically moving down to the scouts every time. So yeah, you may have a start next to mountains, which is fantastic, but those mountains, you may end up with 5 or 6 mountains within the borders of your city, and the problem is, it's a useless tile. Yes, it allows you to build an observatory, yes, it allows you to build a couple of different wonders on it, but every tile, every mountain that is within the 3-tile radius of your city is a tile that you get nothing from. It doesn't give you any production, it doesn't give you any faith, any happiness, anything at all. Unless it happens to be a wonder, because the natural wonders do count as a mountain. I think even Lake Victoria counts as a mountain. It also counts as a lake, which is quite interesting. But yes, you can't actually move over the wonder tiles, so they count as a mountain. You can't build Neuschwanstein or Machu Picchu on them, but they do count for an observatory. So it's a handy little thing to know. Borders are still spreading, which is all good. A couple more players have entered the classical era, so it looks like a few people are beelining for stuff. Let's go up again. Now, do I bother with the Great Lighthouse? Military naval units with extra movement and sight could be very, very useful. We know that the culture is useful, as are the great merchant points. And the issue we're going to have here is this is an archipelago map, which means any warfare is likely to be far more naval than it is land. So, okay, we have ourselves the Temple of Artemis, we have optics, we're in the classical era, and because of that, we get ourselves our Venetian merchant. And look, that button to buy city-state isn't there. That's because we actually set the options right this time. So, he is going to make his way up there, hopefully not get captured by barbarians, and get himself over to Samarkand. And we are going to go for our next technology, which is mining. Let's go and get a mine built up over here. Now, I'm going to go and get Samarkand on board as quickly as possible because they will give me jewelry and I will get additional happiness. Again, I'd love to go for the Great Library, but it's just not going to happen. We're almost certain to get beaten to it. Let's try our luck with the Great Lighthouse and see how we can get there. Our build time has gone down. Well, our new population increase time has gone down from something like 40 turns to about 15, which is fine. Venice demands citrus. Well, that's going to be a little bit difficult. We don't have any around, but we might be able to trade with somebody for it. Certainly, when we find someone we can trade with. And again, remember, if you actually find other people, it increases the rate at which you research new technologies, because if you actually are trying to research something that has also been researched by another civilization that you've encountered, you'll actually research it much quicker. So you get a sort of a neighbour bonus for that. Okay, we may adopt a policy. We could go for the 1 gold and -1 unhappiness for every 2 citizens in the capital. But I think we're going to go for the landed elite and get the faster growth. That's put us down to 5 turns now before we get new growth, which is fantastic. You haven't made your move this turn. You can embark on to the next turn. And we've discovered mining. You guys can now conduct a trade mission. That gets us a lot of gold, and it makes Samarkand instantly our allies. Probably not for long, though. We now have the ability to choose a new technology. What are we going to go for at this point? Do we go for the Mausoleum of Halicon Nassus? It could be worth it for the Great Merchant Point and for the additional culture. But there isn't any marble or stone around, which does make it a little bit pointless. And as we're going to be getting 800 gold every time we expend a great purse, well, we're going to get 800 gold every time we expend a great merchant anyway, which is the main great people we're going to have. No point building a stoneworks, probably not any point building Stonehenge. Caravans are useless to us as well at this point, so all of our trade is going to have to be by sea. There's no point in having a pasture at the moment. So animal husbandry is relatively pointless. Of course, we could get ourselves horses on the map and build a stable. Don't think we need the pyramid. Although it would improve tile improvements. Pyramids, the AI doesn't normally go for. Although we haven't gone for liberty, so we won't be able to get the pyramids anyway. Bronze working. Statue of Zeus could be useful. National Epic could also be useful. Parthenon. That could potentially work. An extra 4 culture. That could be very useful to us. But that is a massive technology and it is a long way away. So we will go for masonry. I'll consider the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus, but it depends how things are going to go along the way there. So no longer an ally of Samarkand. That was expected because, of course, it only gave us 60 influence with them, and you need 60 to stay allies. But hopefully that will increase over time. What I forgot to do was go over here and purchase a workboat. I don't think we actually need a worker straight off the bat, but I'm also going to go in and purchase a library. We don't need to purchase a worker just yet, but I'm also going to... See, the granary is going to be really good for us as well, because each source of wheat, bananas, and deer will give us an extra food. Well, we do have bananas, so even though it's only one of them. But we're going to go and get the shrine just to get some early faith going in. I'll save the rest of the money. Great library has been built in a land far away, just what I expected, which is why I didn't even start on it. So let's go out here and get the fish first. And then we'll just have a quick look and see which tiles Venice is working. It's working the 3 food, the 3 food. It's working that because I told it to, because obviously we want to get the additional construction. Not helping us out too much with the gold at the moment, but things will improve, particularly once the Great Lighthouse comes on board, because that gives us a free lighthouse. And the lighthouse increases the... is it the food yield that we get from... I can never remember. Lighthouse gives us +1 food from all coast and ocean tiles and +1 production from sea resources worked by the city. In addition, each source of fish worked by the city produces 1 extra food. So what you basically have is every coast and ocean tile gets... So look at a fish tile. A fish tile is 2 food. Put a workboat on it, you get 3 food. The coast and ocean tiles give you an extra food, so then it would go up to 4 food, and also each source of fish gives you an additional food, so a fish tile becomes worth 5 food. It also gives you 1 production for sea resources, so this would be worth 5 food and 1 production, and we've got 2 of them. Also, it would mean that the pearls would go up to, I think it's 2 food, 4 gold, because I think the workboat increases the gold. 2 food, 4 gold, and 1 production. So it's going to be worth getting that on board as quick as possible. Venice has actually grown. Working the food. We are working a tile that has a bit of gold on it now. That is good, because we were only making 1 gold per turn up to there. We are going to need to get some cargo ships up and running. Hopefully we can trade with Samarkand. Gold, well, we're in the middle of gold, but that is mainly because we've just spent an awful lot of it on jump-starting some buildings. I really do hope I get the Great Lighthouse. If we don't, it's not the end of the world, because we still have the option of being able to build a normal lighthouse. But I do think that we're going to have a lot of issues with enemy navy. We have now discovered masonry, so we could build the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus. It's probably something that I will consider doing. We might as well actually get animal husbandry and bronze working, just so we can see where the resources are. It does give us a few little things that we can trade. Because you've got to remember, even if you're not really using the iron or the horses yourself, if you do find other AIs, you can often find people who they will trade with. Now, I've just realised here I've also made a bit of a mistake, and that is I'd left my scouts down there just idling around, and what I should do is take them back to my own territory so they can pick up the embark promotion. This is something to learn, is once you get optics, all of your units will start with the embarkation promotion, meaning they can go in the water. However, any units you already had don't have that promotion. That's just the terrain cost one for the scout. What you have to do is move them into your own territory, and once you've moved them back into your own territory, or friendly territory, if you move them into... I know if you're partnered with somebody, if you're in a team on a multiplayer game, it works. I think also if you actually have a declaration of friendship with somebody and move into their territory, it can work as well. But certainly if you move them back into your own territory, they will get the embarkation bonus. So I'm going to put these guys in the water, and I'm going to send them off on their way to try and discover new lands. They'll probably end up getting killed by barbarians, but you guys can go off and auto-explore. And let's just keep speeding things on. Another unmet player has entered the classical era. Well, they're quite far behind. Well, we don't have any horses anywhere near us. There's a surprise. Let us go in now. We don't really need the plantation. We don't need the stoneworks. We don't need Stonehenge. We don't need camps at the moment. There's no point in having a circus because we don't have any ivory or horses nearby. We're not on a river, so we can't build the water mill. We don't need roads or chariot archers. So let's go in for the bronze working and see if we've got any iron around. At least this, sometimes the type of map you start on certainly does lend itself to forcing you down a particular tech route. Now what we could go for is, if it's still there, we could go for fertility rights and get the faster growth rate. Where's the one that I'm looking for? +1 production from fishing boats. We're going to have 3. So that could be useful. 1, 2, 3. Oh no, we've got another fish there we can reach. So we're going to have 4. It's either that or I think there's one that gives you something from jungles. Cam, city connection, production on ancient or classical wonders, which could be useful, but how long is that going to last for realistically? Oh, Sacred Path, +1 culture from jungle tiles. We have a lot of jungle tiles. Don't know how long we're going to have them for, but this is only the Pantheon. And you have to be working those tiles also. But we do have a lot of jungle tiles. I think we're going to go for that one. Simply because what we'd like to do is to be able to get as many social policies open as possible. So as you can see now, all of these jungle tiles are worth 1 culture. And we aren't working many of them at the moment, but we are working some of them. We're going to be working quite a few of the sea resources, but that will take time. It was a toss-up between that and getting the extra production. The extra production is nice, but then when you think about it, we are playing Venice, which means we're going to have a lot of money. We are going to be able to buy a lot of stuff, and in the single city challenge, you very often have huge periods of time where you don't have anything that you need to build. And we have found ourselves Allura. Natural Wonder gives us some happiness. We can't work it, but we've also found Florence, which is nice. I'm also going to manually get these guys to make sure they go over here and find whatever city-state this is as well before putting them back onto Auto-Explore. We are dropping down towards the bottom of the scoreboard now. We've discovered a barbarian camp, but that's not too much of a problem for us. And we have found Hanoi. Fantastic. You guys can now go back on to auto-exploring, I think. Try not to annoy any of those city-states if you can. Don't think we've seen anyone found any religions yet. Hanoi targets a nearby encampment. We could go down there and try and fight it with our scouts, but it's really just not worth it at this point. Oh, I cannot believe that. We were beaten to the Great Lighthouse. We had 2 turns remaining, and we were beaten to it. Well, that does get converted into cash. I'm very annoyed at that. Stonehenge has been built as well. Do I bother going for the mausoleum at this point? Is it really worth it? No. I should spend the money on something more, or the time on something more useful. So let's go for the lighthouse. We are also going to go in here and we are going to purchase ourselves a workboat while we can afford it. And we are going to then pick up for ourselves... I guess we could try and go for the Colossus if it hasn't already gone. Let's see if we could get that. It's probably very unlikely. The AI's probably already beaten me to it. But that would allow us to establish an additional trade route. Not that we really need to be able to do that as Venice, but it would certainly be useful. So, do we hook up the food at this point, or do we go for the jet pearls? I think we're going to go for the pearls, because it'll make it a tile with +2 food, but it'll also give us some additional happiness as well. And we are working that tile. All of those seem good. 2 turns away, I can't believe that. If we'd have had a city that had a tiny bit more production... In fact, if... Oh, we've met Colombo. If I'd have actually taken the other Pantheon that gave me the +1 from workboats, it might have just been enough to kick it over the edge. Actually, that's probably not true. It probably wouldn't have managed it. What is our production output here? Yeah, it's 7. It wouldn't have done it. We'd have probably been 1 turn away, which would have been even more infuriating. Let's go for Monarchy. It'll put us up +4 gold per turn. So it does put us up to +7, and it gives us some more happiness to play with. Resources are going to be a little... Well, luxury resources are going to be a little bit of a problem here. I've got mixed feelings about this start. I mean, we've got some decent ocean tiles to work, so I'm definitely happy about that. We've got a few resources around, luxury resources, nothing great. I'm very thankful that mountain is there, though. That is going to be absolutely brilliant for us, having that. So I can't complain about that too much at all. We've met Geneva. So, good old scouts, they're off doing their thing. Do we have any more money for another workboat? Yes, we do, so we might as well get that online. Should probably get a trireme up and running. Venice's special unit, which I can't actually remember the name of it right now. Where are we? Civilizations and Leaders. Venice. They get the Great Galleass, which is a very early unit, because most of the civilizations that have a unique naval vessel, it's normally sort of frigate era type. But the Venetians get the Great Galleass, which is much more of an early... Can't melee attack, cannot enter deep ocean, but it is a very strong early naval unit. I don't think it's going to be much of an issue to us, because it can't enter deep ocean, and we're pretty much cut off. Although there are some coastal channels around, which is how our scouts are moving. So, but they're probably slightly better than your standard trireme. So we'll get those if we need to. Geneva seeks investors. Well, I've just spent all my money, so that's a little bit pointless. This workboat is going to go on to the other food. And let me just double check. 1, 2, 3. Yep, that one is within range. That one isn't, sadly. So we need one more workboat, and then that's all the workboats we are ever going to need at this city. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's just slightly out of range. 1, 2, 3. That one's slightly out of range. If we weren't playing on single city challenge... this would actually be a relatively decent map to pop another city or two up. I certainly think the next time I play a game and do it on sort of like just a random game, I might use the shuffle map again. It's not something that I normally do, but sometimes it starts to a little bit more interesting. I've never been a big fan of Pangaea type maps anyway, but I think in this single city challenge it's not all that bad of a thing. I realise I'm starting to waffle a lot, and I need to hit next turn more often. We're already up to turn 70, so we're actually in a single video catching up with the point that we got to before. Still haven't established any trade routes yet, even though I can have up to 4. We are 1 turn away from the lighthouse being completed, so that's going to be fantastic. Then we'll have to decide what we want to build from there. Okay, our lighthouse is completed. If we actually now just have a quick look at these tiles. So we're actually getting 5 food and 1 production from the fish. And we're getting 3 food, 1 production and 2 gold from the pearls. So these are definitely tiles that we want to keep locked. Not currently working these bananas anymore, but we're going to grow quite quickly now. 4 turns before we grow again. I'm going to ignore the mausoleum at this point. Still don't think we need a worker just yet. We could go in for a trireme, or we could go in for another workboat. We've got 5 turns until ironworking has finished, so let's go in for that final workboat. And then that should finish just in time to see if we can get the Colossus. It's plus 5 gold and plus 1 culture as well. Gains an additional trade route slot, which we don't really need. Trade routes other players make to this city, and we've discovered Sweden. Wonderful. Trade routes other players make to this city generate an extra 2 gold for the city owner, and the trade route gains an additional 1 gold for the trade route. So, it is quite a useful thing. Now, obviously, if this is an archipelago style map, which it certainly looks like it is, you can guarantee that pretty much all of the AI have a coastal start. So it could be something that a lot of them are trying to go for. Now we do have a little bit more production now, thanks to the workboats, but we're still not the highest production city around. We're certainly going to need to try and get all of the production wonders that we can. I'll go for an embassy. Sweden's not normally hostile. You're right the way up there. Well, I've already found you anyway. What's their start like? Progressive. Not bad. Sort of fair to middling. Oh, we've met Japan now as well. Let us go for the old embassy there. He's fine with that. We'll find where you are. Okay, so what's their start like? They've got double whales. They've got bananas, pearls. They've got some fish. Okay, that's fine. And what about over here? Kyoto, what have you got? Furs, sheep, got some pearls and fish. So yeah, everyone pretty much will have a coastal start. 1 more turn until Venice grows, which is brilliant. He has completed the Hanging Gardens, not something that I was aiming for, so we're good there. Okay, what tile are you working? You've gone on to the bananas now. I can't disagree with that at the moment. Do need to get a worker at some point, actually, just so we can get the spices hooked up. So we will get a worker at some point, but let's go on to the next turn. Fishing boat will complete on this turn, as will ironworking. And we're still only 7th on the scoreboard. There's ironworking. Do we have any iron? Wow. We're not doing great for resources on this little island, are we? So, as ironworking's a bust, where do we put our efforts into this time? Let's have a look at the tree, because I need to see what's a bit further up. I think we probably want to... Well, we need to head towards education. And we need to get the National College, so we're going to beeline now towards philosophy. Choose production. We are going to go for the Colossus. 15 turns. There's no guarantee we will get it. However, if we do put the fishing boat here... And we can't pop it on this turn. Although, are we working this tile? Yes, we are. So we are getting the production from that tile. We'll lock that in there. So again, everything seems good so far. I'd sooner start building a wonder and get beaten to it like 2 or 3 turns in than get 2 turns away like we did with the Great Lighthouse and then find out that we've lost it. Because that's just annoying when that happens. We found Melbourne. That fishing boat is going to do its thing. So there's no point in us getting any more fishing boats because these tiles are out of our workable range. Now, I haven't got much of an army at the moment, which could lead other civilizations to decide we're easy to attack, but I think we're in quite a good defensive position. We have discovered Sripada. Not too sure where that is in the real world. I've heard of it before, but again, gives us a little bit of happiness, but just for discovering it, but we can't work it because it's nowhere near us. So off the scouts go. Still clicking that button, just waiting for things to happen. We're actually at the bottom of the score right now, which is not fantastic. We're only making 1 faith per turn, which also isn't brilliant. Definitely going to have to start making some money at some point, just so we can start getting some more of these city-states on board with us. I think that's one of the most important things in the single city challenge, is having those city-states on board. And it certainly help. At the moment, we may be off to a bit of a slow start, and we have discovered Alexander. So that's pretty much screwed any chance of a diplomatic victory. He's all the way over there. Hopefully, though, we don't need to throw money at all of the city-states. Just a small handful, just enough to keep a few of them sending us stuff. We actually discovered some ruins. Unfortunately, those ruins are nicely guarded by some barbarian archers. But let's see if we can actually get up there and get them. Probably unlikely, although these archers are actually firing at Alexander there, although he's just moved out of range. I mean, it might be a free tech, it might be a little bit of gold, it might be some free culture. Yeah, there's an entire camp there, which isn't fantastic, but we'll see what we can do. We are technically stronger than archers. I just don't want the brutes to come out and kill us. And they're actually firing at the Japanese boats, which is really nice for us. Yeah, I know it's my go. You're already selected. Only a minor victory. A minor victory nonetheless. Okay, let's go on to the next turn. Public declaration from Japan. Public declaration from Greece. As you know from my last Let's Play, Greece is designed around having control over all the city-states, and that's definitely what the AI will do. It definitely plays in that direction. So we took a little bit of damage there. We could try and fight back. I'm not sure we can actually heal up out of that, so I'm just going to run away. It would have been nice to get those ruins, but these guys are just not in a position to be able to do that. Although we'll see how long they stay there. We may be able to get them later on. I'm just manually going to try and move my scouts around if they survive. Statue of Zeus has been built in a land far away. Not too bothered about that. I'm going to pop these guys off there, heal them up, and then set them back on their merry way. We could potentially go back. I mean, we don't need to do a lot of discovery this early on. We could go back and see if those guys are there, but you're going to heal up for the time being anyway. Have we grown again? It looks like we have, which is good because we're getting a little bit more culture now. I think the tiles we are working is acceptable. We are going to need to get a worker soon, though. And we're going to need to get some trade routes soon. Melbourne and Greece are now allies, so it begins. You guys are still healing up. I'm fine with that. So they only get 10 health per turn at this point. Another public declaration from Greece. Greece will basically just go and protect, like, every single city-state. Because that's what Greece do. See, there's iron up here. And there's just nowhere near me that is useful. Another public declaration from Greece. Parthenon been built in a land far away, so glad I didn't start trying to go for that. We may adopt a policy, well, we might as well take oligarchy because it will make our city a little bit stronger. It will mean that the warrior fighter we have in our city won't cost us any maintenance anymore. And we also get the free growth, or the 15% growth and the free aqueduct. And we can purchase great engineers with faith. Not that we're making a lot of faith, but at least we have the option of doing that now. Still at the bottom of the scoreboard, but everything is left to play for. These guys just got kicked out of their spot because the borders of Sweden grew, but they can still continue to heal up. Let's go on to the next turn. A lot of Swedish troops moving around. And we have managed to get the Colossus, which is great. Gives us a free trade route straight off the bat as well, so we don't have to worry too much about building that. So what do? Do we start getting ourselves a worker? We still have relatively good happiness at the moment. We could get ourselves a trireme for exploration, which wouldn't be a terrible thing to do. I think we're going to get the worker, though, and start getting some of these tiles improved, because we are a little bit behind on score. The only people we can trade with at the moment is Florence, Hanoi, and Samarkand. Well, we might as well trade with Florence, because they are offering the most money at this point. So even though we can actually have 6 trade routes at the moment, because there are only 3 people we can reach, we'll only be able to build or buy a total of 3 cargo ships right now.
There is only one good.
And we've discovered philosophy. Just choose our research. Back at the tree. What do we go in for now? What would be useful to us? Well, we're not going to need a courthouse. We don't need the hanging gardens. They're already gone. Let's start heading towards currency and start getting our gold income supplemented. And we'll try and get you guys back over on here and see if we can't go and deal with those archers. He attempted to give it a go. So we are really going to need to improve our culture output. At the same time, we're also going to drastically need to improve our tourism. Otherwise, we're going to have some real issues later on when it comes to ideological pressure. Okay, those guys are almost there. Pantheon founded. Well, looks like someone's a little bit behind us. We've actually moved up from the bottom now as well. Mind you, we have just completed another wonder. That's probably the reason why. Those guys get a free shot at us, which is really annoying. Takes half of our health away before we can do anything else. Can't really attack them on this turn either. Our trade route has been plundered. So that free trade route we've instantly lost. Which is very, very annoying. Greece are getting faith from tundra tiles. So that trade route lasted quite a long time. I don't think we're going to realistically be able to take these out with the scouts. Yeah, okay, we've discovered the wheel. These guys, we could insta-heal. We're just going to give them survivalism. We're going to run away. We'll leave it. It's not worth it for an ancient ruins. So, what is the plan here? Well, we'll wait for that worker to finish up. We'll probably then build a trireme just so we can go and clear up the barbarians that are plundering our trade routes. And then we'll try and get our trade routes on board. And we've lost our scout. That was unfortunate. Oh well, it's not the end of the world. At least I don't have to micromanage it now. And it's saving me a little bit of maintenance. Saving me a couple of gold per turn, surely. So, work's nearly done. And indeed it is. So, what can we make now? We've actually got quite a lot of things we can choose from here. We could go in and get ourselves the... what? This city must be built next to a river. Are we on a river? Oh, we are on a river. Ah, yes, there's actually a river here that is running from the mountain down at the side of the city into the sea. I hadn't even noticed that. So this is an even better start than I thought. We're on a river as well. That would certainly help with production and food. Now, do we bother with the Oracle? Free science policy is very nice. I think we're going to head towards the Oracle. We can purchase a trireme as soon as we have the appropriate amount of money, and we do. So let us go and do that. We're also showing that these... tiles are being blockaded. That's quite interesting. We'll have to go and sort that out, whoever's causing that problem there. So we have ourselves a worker. Let's go and get the spices sorted out. And we go and sort out these filthy barbarians that are plundering my trade routes. And killing my scouts, but, you know, that was my own stupid fault. So let's go and have a look over here. What have we got? Now, it doesn't say that it's being blockaded anymore, but I have no idea where these barbarians were. Now, where were we trading with? Was it Florence? So they're going to be up here somewhere, so we'll have to have a bit of a look around. Very annoying. Free trade route and lost it instantly. Terracotta army's been built somewhere else. Not too bothered about that. There he is. Happiness. Oh, we're not too bad on happiness, though. So let's go around here and deal with you guys. You guys make a plantation. We'll lose the food and we will lose the culture because we're getting rid of the jungle. Which also means we'll lose a science for university. But we need it for the happiness and we need the spices. So we're going to avoid ripping up as many of the jungle tiles as possible. But we are going to have to rip some of them up. That is a fact. We have to just face that. Where is that trireme losing health from? It's not from me. There's mathematics done. We are in a golden age, which is fantastic. We are going to go over here and rain on the parade of this barbarian trireme. Didn't quite manage to finish it off on that turn. But we are going to need to try and keep the seas clean. I wonder if it's that camp that's spawning them. I wouldn't be the slightest bit surprised at that. Florence is having a bombard on them as well. That's fine. Let's just have a look around and make sure they're not around anywhere. Ah, Florence has a lighthouse. We'll come back to friendly territory and heal that up soon, but I also want to have a quick look down here and just make sure there's no more barbarian boats lurking around there. There's another player in the medieval era. We've still only met 3 people so far. There's 4 we haven't found. You're going to work your way down here, see what you can find. Looks like Hanoi's working Uluru. So we're already up to turn 103, so managed to catch up to where we were before. I'll end this video very shortly, because obviously it has gone on for quite a while, but I did want to sort of catch up with the previous video. Yeah, there's the barbarian camp there. We should probably think about going to take that out at some point. Now, what I could do, if that's where those barbarian ships are coming from, I could just park my trireme here on this space, which then stops them being able to come through. There you can see they actually have another trireme there. So I'm trying to destroy that and then bring my trireme back, go and park it over here somewhere, and, heal it up, and then bring it back and park it on one of these single space tiles so they can't get any more units through. That's the plan. Whether or not it'll work is completely different. Greece and an unnet player are now friends. Unit has a promotion. We are going to give you boarding party. Right, where do you think you're running off to? Quite a few barbarians around here, actually. Well, that's you down. You've moved. Let's go on to the next turn. Yeah, friendship with Japan. Why not? I'd sooner be his friend than have him attacking me. He's a good enough distance away not to worry too much about stuff. Alexander has completed the Oracle. Pyramids have been built quite late on, but not surprising. Right, you are going to return to base. Shame I didn't get the Oracle, but, you know, I was bound to get beaten to something. So what do we go for now? The National College will be really useful to us. Are we going to bother with a religion? Are we likely to be able to get a religion? It's a little bit unlikely. Cargo ship is 6 turns. We should probably just save up and buy one. Let us get ourselves... Right, let us get the National College. We can get our science more quick. Ah, that's why you wanted to be friends, because you have no money and you want me to give you gold. This is the one thing I hate about the AI. It's like, you can be really friendly with the AI. You can have all the modifiers, and they can have a... I could have actually got the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus. Look at that. You can have all of the friendly modifiers with the AI, and it will say they're friendly. And you can propose a declaration of friendship to them, and quite often they will say no, when there's absolutely no reason to say no. And then you will have an AI who is neutral with you, offer you a declaration of friendship, and it's always because they want you to give them something. Every single time. So, what do we go into now? We could actually go into guilds, which would just jump us straight into the medieval era, and we could actually get Machu Picchu. That wouldn't be a bad thing. I mean, yeah, okay, we're not going to get the 25% gold from city connections, but we would get ourselves the +5 gold and the Great Merchant Point. Or do we save up and get Neuschwanstein? Where's Neuschwanstein? I can never remember. Is it Chivalry? No, that's Castle. Why can I never remember where Neuschwanstein is? Gemi Castle, words. Where are you, Neuschwanstein? It's not that far up the tree, surely. Oh yeah, they're railroad, isn't it? Of course. So we could get the happiness, the culture, the gold. Neuschwanstein is nice. Now, I'm not sure that you can build Neuschwanstein and Machu Picchu on the same mountain. No guarantee we're going to be able to get Neuschwanstein anyway, but I think I'm going to rush up to guilds at this point. Go on to the next turn. And it's probably about time to call an end to this video, which we will do very shortly. So we'll move you there, just so you can heal up. And we'll... Well, that's the end of the turn. Turn 110, I think that will do. We've actually managed to catch up to where we were in the previous video. We're definitely on a single city challenge this time. I don't think we've had quite as strong a start, although the starting location is nice. I think that the AI is probably going to be able to make more of this start than I can. Got quite a long way to catch up with the top scoring player, whoever that is. But once we get our trade route set up, once we start getting some banks and East India companies and those sort of things up and running, we'll start making a lot more money. Building guilds will allow us to unlock trading posts, which is really good because we can convert some of these tiles into trading posts, which means we won't have to take the jungles down. So we'll already get the food from the jungle, and we'll get gold, and we'll get culture. Once the universities are up, we'll also get science. So jungle tiles are going to be very, very good for us. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and thanks even more so for bearing with me during my unfortunate mishap and having to do a restart. And I'll see you on the next video. So until then, goodbye for now.